Hello, I'm talking to you. That's right, to you. Well, not really, but it seems that way because I'm looking directly into the camera, so it appears that I'm looking directly at you. When you do broadcasts like this, you need to have a script, and the best way to read a script is with a teleprompter. Without it, I'd have to remember all kinds of things that I want to say to you. For example, the Teleprompter Corporation was founded in the 1950s by Fred Barton Jr. and Irving Kahn. Back then, it was simply a scrolling screen that some poor schmuck turned manually just below the view of the camera. And while it worked, some people found it a little disconcerting because people were looking down to read the script and then looking up to look into the camera, so it was kind of obnoxious. Then, in 1953, a man by the name of Jess Oppenheimer created the first in-the-lens teleprompter. And he created it for Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz for the television show I Love Lucy. Then in 1982, the first electronic teleprompter was introduced, which was custom software run on a computer called the Atari 800. I actually had one of those. Today, of course, there are super high-end teleprompters that cost thousands of dollars. Back in 2014, Parrot decided to start a Kickstarter campaign to create a small and, most importantly, inexpensive teleprompter. They were looking for $30,000, but their campaign was so successful they ended up getting $65,000. Now, in its second revision, the Parrot Teleprompter 2 is still living up to those expectations. Okay, so here is our Parrot Teleprompter. And before you say, hey, it's just a plastic box with a piece of one-way mirror in it and a couple of springs. Yeah, and a paperclip is just a bent piece of wire, but if it's done correctly and done well, it's very useful. So here we have, let's kind of open this up here. So we have our instructions, which we'll put aside. Here's the unit here, and comes with a bunch of rings. All right. So on a traditional teleprompter, the camera goes in back and is covered by a piece of cloth or some kind of shielding so that you keep it very dark because you can't have any light go in. So on the back of the Parrot, it has this is the sort of the lens cover, and as you can see, this is 77 millimeters. So it's a pretty large opening. Okay. So obviously you don't have a 77 millimeter, I'm assuming you don't have a 77 millimeter lens. So you have all of these step-up rings and adapter rings that they give you. And they give you a fair amount. Now my understanding is they used to tell you to tell them which one you wanted and they would send that to you, but it became a problem because you can't do that in the mass market. And people want to go home and use the unit right then and there, and they were having some different issues, so they said, okay, we'll just put them in. All right, so the minimum adapter is 49 millimeters. So we have 49, 52, 55, 58, 62, 67, 72, 77, and 82. And as you can see, actually, so the 77 will work with, 77 should just work right in the back, and the 82 is if you're, like, I guess, ridiculously sized. In any event, the first issue that I ran into is I'm using my Canon Vixia, and it has a very small opening. In fact, its opening is only 43 millimeters. So I will leave you a link for this. This is a step-up ring that goes from 43 millimeters to 52 millimeters. So once we get to 52 millimeters, now I can find the correct ring for 52 millimeters. See, that's why you want a script, pal. Okay? It's going to be the last one. Next to the last one. They're stuck together. 52 millimeter. And the last one. There we go. All right. Merry Christmas. All right. So here we have the 52 millimeter. So now, with using this step-up ring, and again, it just has to catch. It doesn't. You don't have to turn it like like water's going to be passing through it. Just make sure that if you do it too much, you're going to break the thread. So just leave it like that. Especially on the Vixia, because the ring on the inside is kind of plastic too. So you're going to have a problem with that. But anyway, so now that means I can screw this on to my Canon Vixia, and now when I get ready to use this, I slide out the protector and slide this in, and now it ensures that the camera is in total darkness. So we'll put that aside for right now. Now, the next thing you need to have is you need to have a phone, some kind of a phone that you're going to use. It could be the phone that you use on a daily basis. I would suggest finding an old phone. This is my Samsung Galaxy S5 that has given its life just to do this at this point. And the reason for that is, you got to go back and forth, but you could use your own phone if you wanted to. However, the bigger the phone, the more of an issue you're going to have. As you can see with this S5, this almost perfectly matches the width of the teleprompter. You can use, I did have a Note 4, and the Note 4 was obviously larger. And while you can fix that in the software, there's you can change the margins in the software. The problem with that is that it was much heavier. And so it was really starting to put some weight, because now I've got this on there, I got the Note 4, so it was an issue. But the S5 was good. I'm also going to leave a link in the description for what's called a Blue phone from the company Blue, B-L-U. And those phones are like $25, $30, something like that. You just get one of those and just leave it for that. All right, so essentially what happens is this. Once I open this up, we can see the glass. Now, if I hold it at this angle, you can see it's a very good mirror. You can see my hat and the rest of the piece. But if I hold it just even a little bit off, you'll see that we can actually see the back part of the teleprompter. And that's the magic of it. It's basically a one-way mirror, and that's what it does. So the next thing we need to do is take a look at the software, and I'm going to look at it in depth in a second. But the software itself, which is available free from both the Play Store and iTunes, you can enter a script right here and keep typing it in there. The problem I have with that is, as I've said before, I have hands like oven mitts, and I would not want to type a long script this way. So you could email it to yourself and then cut, copy, and paste and some other stuff, but they have very nicely, if you go into settings, they sync automatically with a folder in Dropbox. Now the folder is going to be called Apps, Parrot Teleprompter, Scripts, or just App Teleprompter. I'll put it down the bottom of the screen there. Whatever you see down there, that's the right folder. So it automatically syncs to that. So you don't actually have to do anything. So if I put something in here, it's going to go up to Dropbox. And that means then that I can edit it either on my Chromebook or on my Deck Station. I'll walk you through a whole piece in 1 second. But that's the money right there. So being able to just start, so if you're out and about, you want to just start it and then go from there. Actually, let me show you one other thing that, this is why I like to just kind of talk openly here, just you and I talking. I wanted to show you that, so I just took that out of the deck stock. I wanted to show you, a lot of people didn't realize this, and that is the voice recorder that came at least with the S8. I have not had a chance to look at it on the S7, but I can tell you on the S8s. So that would be S8, S8 Plus, and Note 8. The voice recorder has a function, let's see, change it, we'll cancel it, cancel, has a function called speech to text. Speech to text. And that's how I actually start most of my scripts now, because I go in here, I go to speech to text, I hit that, and I say, "Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a man of infinite jest. He made me laugh." Okay? Now, first of all, half of them words I probably couldn't even spell if I had to. All right. So what we end up here with is, we'll turn that off. So you end up with, it takes your speech and turns it into text. And so I can actually now just select all, do a copy, then I go into, now again, I'm on a different phone now, but remember, we don't care because it's going to sync in between all of the units. So now I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go into Parrot, I'm going to just give that a quick scroll here, I'm going to hit the plus sign, I'm going to say test for you, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to paste the text, I'm going to hit save. Let's put that off to the side. Now I'm going to come back to the device I'm going to actually use. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come back out. I'm going to give it 1 second. And you can see it sort of blinking there. And if we scroll around there, there it is. Test for you. So I managed to demonstrate that it syncs immediately back and forth. So now I can actually go in and we could use that. Now, we can't see it right now because it's in mirror mode. So let me go back in and show you the rest of the settings. Or there's not that many settings. The settings are, you can change the size of the text, you can change how fast it scrolls, you can change the margin, you can change if it's in mirror mode or not in mirror mode in case for some reason you wanted to just sort of stand there and hold it and then do something. I'm not sure about that. You have a marker that you can turn on and off. We'll talk about that. You have the loop script, which means it'll just come around and go around again. You have lock orientation, which means it'll always stay in that orientation. And you can change the colors and you can reset the script. So not a lot of whole bunch of features, but again, it does the job that we want it to do. So what we do is we take our phone, push down on these springs a little bit here, and put our phone in. And again, you can see this phone almost perfectly matches it. And now we'll find our script. And it's our test for you. I could use, we'll use that one. Okay. And I'm going to hold it like that so you can see it. And you can see, there it is. Okay. And I'm actually tilting it a bit, so that means some light's getting in, so it's not as good as it could be. But it's fine. Believe me, it is. I turn the volume, I turn the brightness all the way up. And when you're holding it like this and looking in at it, all you can see is that text. And of course, the camera is going to look right through that one-way mirror. See, if I turn it enough, you can see that it'll actually go all the way through. It'll turn right through there. So that's basically it. I walked you through the process of actually creating a script. There is one other thing that you can get. For an extra $20, they have a remote. Now, this is obviously some remote that they retasked from something else because it has a whole bunch of play controls that do absolutely nothing. So I'm assuming some DVR manufacturer said, hey, I got a bunch of remotes. I can make this work with that. Do you want to get them? But in any event, that's fine. I don't care. So for an extra $20, you get this remote. And what you can do is you can exit out of the program. I don't know why, but you can exit out of the program. You can restart the script. Actually, make sure that's on. Turn it off. Turn it on. You can restart the script. You can change the margins, and you can go faster, slower, and then you can pause. And that actually works very well for me because I can click on it, start it, and then if I sort of go off topic, I have this in my hand, I can stop for a second. You'll notice that when you stop, though, it turns off that marker, so the whole page is lit up, but then when I turn it on again, it shows me right where I left off. Okay? And if I miss a part, I can go back up, or I can move a little bit, speed up that scrolling. There we go, speed it up, or slow it down. And you'd be very surprised how quickly you get used to having this in your hand, so that you can actually, so you can actually, so you'll be reading, and then if you sort of flub, you can pause it, pick up where you left off. If you need to start again, you can hit the restart button and go through and go from there. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. You saw the opening. See, when I'm not reading for a script, I tend to do and ohs and ums, and I'm not really happy with that, but that's my normal speech pattern. However, obviously, when I'm using the teleprompter and I know what I'm going to say and I can continue forward, it's a little more professional. So you can use it in some cases. You saw what I did. I used it at the beginning to get all of that historical data out, and I did that on one take, at one take. This, what we're doing right now, some days I might do this 10 times because I pause too much, or I have to do a lot of editing, but you get the idea. So this is the Parrot Teleprompter version 2. I don't think you can even buy a version 1, but just so you know, there's a version 2. I'll leave a link for it in the description. I'll leave a link for the adapter ring for most of your camcorders, which is 43 millimeters. And I'll leave you the link for an inexpensive phone, and put it all together. Turn on that Dropbox sync and put it all together, and you have yourself a world-class teleprompter. All right, again, as always, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm actually working on, and I think I've told you this before, I'm working on another channel that's going to talk about how you make videos and how you go through. But what happens is basically you need to get 1,000 views to get $1. 1,000 views, $1. So when you go back through and you look at some of my videos and see that I got 500 views or I got 200 views, you can see I'm not going to be able to live off of that. But then I do have others that have 21,000 and 89,000. So I would like to get up to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So that's it for now. This is Orman Beckles, the High-Tech Nomad, and I will be talking to you again very, very soon. This is the High-Tech Nomad signing out.